Season here on News Channel 7 Sports. Mike Anthony and the Bear Tom Bechtel set for another good one here. Saturday afternoons in Bellaire, the Bellaire Big Reds and the Steubenville Catholic Crusaders. Bellaire looks to continue their home field advantage, Tom. They're 5-0 this season and haven't lost here in a long time.
Yeah, they haven't lost the home game since 1992. Virtually unbeatable on this field, but they face a tough opponent today.
Steubenville Catholic has lost their last 3 games, but the quality opponents.
Undefeated. Undefeated Lemley. They're now 5-0 playing as we speak. Undefeated Steubenville 6-0, and also undefeated Martinsbury 6-0. So those are 3 very quality opponents they've lost to. They played them tough defensively.
Should be a good ball game. Bellaire likes to throw the ball, as you know, and Steubenville Catholic would like to try to start throwing the football to one of their good receivers, Paul Marook, who has yet to get on track the last couple of weeks. Defense have been clamping down on him, and flat out, Coach Farrar told us that Steubenville Catholic needs to throw the ball to win this game today to open up the running game.
Yeah, quite frankly, they need to establish a passing game because the last 2 weeks it's been mediocre. They've had as many interceptions as completions, so look for them to try to establish a run, but they need to hit on a few passes if they're going to be successful here today.
And they can throw if they can run. You know how that goes in football. Should be a good one. Strap yourselves in. The opening kickoff and the starting lineups are coming up next. Bellaire and Steubenville Catholic on News Channel 7 Sports. Stay with us. Welcome back to Nelson Field in Bellaire. News Channel 7 Sports presents Steubenville Catholic and Bellaire High School in our News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Steubenville Catholic will kick off to start this afternoon's football game. A beautiful fall, brisk, sunny day in Bellaire, Ohio for high school football. Bellaire back to receive, number 44, Richie Materkoski. They also have number 3, Derek Sochor, and Tim Marling in the middle at number 20. We're underway from Nelson Field. It's Marling at his 14-yard line, straight ahead, and he's hit at the 32-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Big Reds. They'll be led by their junior quarterback, Ty Masciarelli. Up front, Chaz Call, good hands at tight end, Aaron Chirpas, Bubba Sechrest, Jed LaRoche, Jim McFeely, John Keller, and the split end is Grant Allen this afternoon. Ty Masciarelli, flanked by the good tailback, Clint Lekanudos, Richie Materkoski, and the flanker, the senior stud, Ben Taylor. It's Materkoski and Masciarelli. Masciarelli to throw on 1st down, complete to Taylor at midfield, 45, and he's brought down to the 40-yard line into Steubenville Catholic territory, and there go the Big Reds throwing on 1st down. We knew they were going to, and you see Taylor with a big play early.
Well, it seems like Bellaire opens every game with a pass, and here they go, their clutch receiver, Benny Taylor. He's been kind of solid on the offensive side of the football this year, but we're certainly aware of the outstanding capabilities he possesses, Mike.
For Steubenville Catholic, Duke Fort, Derek Thorne, Jason Golick, Joe Petrozzi is going to start defensive end tonight, their quarterback. And we'll set those rest of the guys in a minute. Handoff in the backfield to Lekanudos. He's brought down in the backfield, probably a loss of a couple. Let's reset those Steubenville Catholic Crusaders on defense. Fort, Thorne, Golick, Petrozzi, Orsini, the linebacker, with the big fullback linebacker, Brandon Ice. And the other linebacker is Matt Gold. Defensive backs, Brent Ferroni, Chad Biggio, Mike Zukowski, and the Mr. Do-Everything, Paul Marook, at a safety, number 24 for Steubenville Catholic, and Craig Farrar.
Interesting move by Coach Farrar. Joe Petrozzi, the quarterback, lining up at the defensive end position.
Masciarelli, play action, good fake, pumps across the middle, incomplete, a little behind Ben Taylor at the 30-yard line. Good fake, not so good of a throw.
No, but Bellaire is going to have to mix it up today, Mike. Steubenville Catholic, despite their 2-3 record, has shown an outstanding ability to stop the run. They've done it consistently throughout the season. They were burned a little bit by Chad Brinker, but we all know he's an outstanding back. But they've done relatively well against the run. Held Eddie Drummond, I think, like 47 yards. So they have a tough defense against the run.
I saw him play against Steubenville, and they shut down the Big Red running attack. Let's see if they can shut down the Big Reds attack. Masciarelli to throw on 3rd and 13. Incomplete to Chaz Call inside the 10. Good coverage by Paul Marook in the secondary.
Well, we talk about Bellaire and how they like to stretch the defense, and it's evidenced by that play right there, Mike. Chaz Call is the tight end. He's being thrown to down the field approximately 30, 35 yards, and when you can do that, you're going to stretch out that Crusader defense, and I'm sure that's part of Coach Magistra's game plan.
But on 4th and 14, Coach Magistro elects to punt the football away, so Steubenville Catholic holds. Bellaire on the first drive of the afternoon. Ben Taylor to punt near midfield, end over end. Fair catch called for and taken by the Crusaders.
That was Troy Dennis, number 32 on the fair catch, Mike.
Steubenville Catholic will take over 1st and 10. It was a good punt inside the 10, and as a lot of coaches will tell you, Tom, You cannot fair catch the ball inside the 10. Tom Clark, Tom Daly, Jason Golick, Campana, Gould, Fort, and Marook at split end up front for Steubenville Catholic. There's their quarterback, Joe Petrozzi, little guy like Joe Lekanudos, and Brandon Ice, the Iceman, in the backfield with Brent Ferroni at a wide out. Pro-I backfield. Man in motion right to left behind Joe Petrozzi. The handoff is straight ahead. Lekanudos bounces outside, and he's pushed back in the backfield. Looked like we had some daylight, but Clint Lekanudos closed it quickly enough to stop Lekanudos.
Yeah, Joe had a nice game last week against the Steubenville Big Red, 61 yards on 13 carries. So he does have some ability to tote the leather, and I'm sure Coach Farrar would like to establish the running game early in this contest.
And we mentioned in the outset, Paul Marook would have to have a big game today, and he would be opened up only if the running game opens up. And you see right now, Bellaire stops Steubenville Catholic on 1st and 10. No gain, 2nd and 10. Ball about the 9. Ice. And he's hit in the middle of the defense and brought down. Nothing doing there. Steubenville Catholic's second run of the day amounts to nothing. Defense for the Big Reds. Mike Bannock, John Keller, the Chirp Man, Aaron Chirpas, Wes Carter, and Bubba Sechrest at defensive end. Linebackers, Jeremy Lemley, Chaz Call. Defensive backs, Clint Lekanudos, Grant Allen, and Derek Sochor. And the safety, Ben Taylor. Two good safeties this afternoon, Marook and Taylor on both sides of the football. A lot of guys that can do about everything.
Well, we've talked all year. They have an outstanding secondary. The defensive line and linebackers have come up strong in the early season.
On 3rd and 7, Petrozzi completes it to Ice. First down inside the 24-yard line, about the 23 where he's pushed out of bounds. Steubenville Catholic gets a little flare out of the backfield to Ice.
Well, that's a big 3rd down conversion for the Crusaders. Coach Farrar tends to play a game of field position, and they didn't want to have to kick that ball back to the Big Reds early in the game here.
So they convert on 3rd and get themselves a first down. At the 21-yard line, 1st and 10, Steubenville Catholic. Here's Paul Marook split left. Brent Ferroni in the slot left. Petrozzi's going to roll and looks like he's going to run. The Big Reds are swarming. Ben Taylor tracks him down from his safety position. Great job by coming up.
Well, that's one of the keys to the Bellaire defense. Benny is the free safety. They give him a free rein, and his job basically, as we see here, Petrozzi gets a little opening, but Ben Taylor closes quickly, and he's a sure tackler, and that's what Benny's in there for, at that free safety position, Mike. He's going to pursue the football.
He got one at 2nd and 9 for the Crusaders. The Bellaire defense just swarms to the football. Unless you turn it up and go north and south, they're going to be on you within a matter of seconds. Pro-I backfield. Man in motion is Lekanudos, left to right. Petrozzi to throw. Now he's flushed out of there. Chaz Call and Lekanudos make the stop at about the 26-yard line. Good defense by the secondary of Bellaire, and Petrozzi, with nowhere to go, had to tuck it in.
Well, this is Belaire's defensive game plan. They want to force Steubenville Catholic into 3rd and long situations, into passing downs, and they've seen the last couple weeks the Crusaders have not been successful through the air.
Let's see if they convert again. 3rd and 5. Ball on the 26-yard line. Eye in the backfield. Ice Lekanudos. Option right. Joe Lekanudos has room, and then the Big Reds close it off. Lekanudos goes out of bounds. Took a couple of the spectators with him over there.
Yeah, Derek Sochor, the cornerback, number 3, did a great job of running down that play, and he's one of the fastest Big Reds, so it's tough to get outside on him.
So they don't convert on 3rd and 5, and Steubenville Catholic will have to punt it away to the Big Reds. Materkoski back deep with Tim Marling, 20, Materkoski 44. The punt is underway and taken by Marling at the 45. Into Steubenville Catholic territory, flag down.
Of course, anytime you see that flag, Mike, on a kick return, it's going to be a clip or a block in the back, and as indicated there by the referee, Keith Bloom, it's going to be a 15-yard penalty assessed against Bellaire.
Hey, our second game with this crew. Keith Bloom and the boys, the Candyman, and the rest of your buddies.
Yeah, this is some of my good friends. They're from the West Virginia High Board up in the Weirton, Steubenville area, and Keith Bloom is the referee. Working the wings are Georgie Kalchak, and the Coos, Jimmy Kaczynski. At umpire is Donnie Law, the Candyman, and back judge is Tommy Constantini, excuse me there, Tommy. It's an outstanding crew, and they'll do a fine job today, I'm sure.
I had to give them a hard time the last time we had the crew down at River in Magnolia.
Well, they're a bunch of good guys, and we had a little fun here in the pregame. Had the pleasure of working with Keith a couple years ago in the Ohio playoffs, and he does a real nice job from that referee position.
The Candyman, always a treat to talk to prior to the game.
He's a piece of work.
Hey, 1st and 10 on the 36 for the Big Reds after the penalty. Slot right and split right. Materkoski and Lekanudos. The draw is to Lekanudos. Across the 40 to the 43. Tackled by Mike Campana, 74. And Jason Golick.
Of course, Mike, the big senior tackle, 260-pound tackle, does a nice job for the Crusaders, but ball carrier was already deep into their territory before he made that tackle there.
Clint Lekanudos is really becoming an all-around football player that's opened some eyes in the Ohio Valley, playing defense and offense.
Yeah, well, Clint possesses some excellent speed, and the coach has been real pleased with his offensive play this year.
Play action. Masciarelli is forced out of there. He's going to run it. Materkoski can't get the block down, and Masciarelli is out of bounds.
Well,
midfield.
Here we see one of the surprises in the Bellaire offense this year. The coaches knew that Ty could throw the football, but they weren't sure about his elusiveness, and they were concerned about the protection. And Ty shows there he has some ability to get away from the on-rush from the defenders.
It's enough for a Big Reds first down. Near midfield at the 49. Still on Bellaire's side of the football field here at Nelson. Ben Taylor slot right with the eye in the backfield. The first man is Materkoski. Across the 50. Short gain. And there's Bellaire. They run wide once and they run up the middle. The next play.
Well, Matt Gold was there to meet the ball carrier, and as we said previously, the Crusaders are very stingy against the rush, and quite frankly, Bellaire's going to have a tough time establishing a running game today.
No score and a turning clock in the first quarter at Nelson Field. Bellaire football just inside the Steubenville Catholic 49-yard line, 2nd and 9. Masciarelli to roll, and now he'll run. Good move, and he's close to a first down near the 39-yard line, up at the 41-yard line where his knee was down. And you see the elusiveness of Mr. Masciarelli. He had a chance to throw the football, but elected to run.
Yeah, we talk about Bellaire stretching out the defense, and here's just another example. Quarterback Ty Masciarelli showing his ability to run the football. Appeared to be trapped, got away from the defenders, picks up a nice gain, and sure tackle here by Paul Marook, number 24.
Good move to get away from 22 Lekanudos and get just a yard short of the first down. 3rd and 1. Lekanudos going to be close to the 40-yard line. They had to get to the 40. There's a flag in. Let's see what the call was.
Yeah, the converted defensive end, number 14, the quarterback, Joe Petrozzi, did a great job of stopping that play. Indication here from the referee, Keith Bloom. It appears it's going to be a hold against the Big Reds.
See if you can pick it up here, Mr. Official. It's on the right side, although it's going to be tough to see on this angle. And you might see it right there. Hard to tell. We were so tight on the ball carrier.
Yeah,
great shot. Good job by Jerry Case on the field there.
Yeah, it appears the hold might have actually occurred on the Petrozzi, who was making the tackle.
3rd and 11. That backs the Big Reds up. Steubenville Catholic in their pass defense. Masciarelli straight back. Now he steps up. He throws, and it's complete to Ben Taylor. And boy, was he close to passing the line of scrimmage. It'll be enough for his first down, and now the flag's dropped. Boy, was that close.
Yeah, that was extremely close, but I do believe he was over the line. We had a real good look at it there, and
he had to throw it before the 50, and I think his foot was about the 50-yard line.
You know, actually, the line of scrimmage was the about the 48 and a half, 49, and we can see it on the replay. He stepped just a little bit over that line. The officials were right on the scene, and Bellaire's going to be assessed a 5-yard penalty and, of course, loss of down.
No picking up of those flags. That is a penalty. I had to get that in.
Yeah.
So it's 4th and 15. Ben Taylor will punt. Joe Lekanudos 22 and Troy Dennis 32 for the Crusaders. And they're back pretty far because I know Taylor can boom them. Good snap. Taylor gets it end over end. It'll come down to Lekanudos.
Yeah, and Lekanudos did signal for a fair catch there, but he fell to turf, so the issue's moot.
At the 15-yard line, and that's the second punt that the Crusaders have caught inside your 20. And coaches will tell you sometimes if it's inside the 15 or 10, take a chance to let that go, and maybe it'll get into the end zone with that end-over-end spin. That might have gotten in there, and they would have gotten 5 yards from the 15 to the 20, but you never know.
Well, I think the old coach's axiom is, Mike, anytime it's outside the 10, they'd like you to see you catch the ball, because conversely, if that ball's bouncing, Bellaire can down it near the goal line. So I think that was a wise decision. Same way the last time he caught it to 9, so let's give the benefit of the doubt to the receiver. That's pretty close. But the axiom, coach's axiom is 10-yard line, put your heels on it, don't go behind the 10.
Yep. Petrozzi on 1st and 10, hands off to Palmer Rook. He has running room into the secondary and breaks a couple of tackles before he's finally brought down by Ben Taylor and number 7, Jeremy Lemley.
Well, in the pregame, Mike, you talked about Steubenville needs to get the football to Palmer Rook. Coach Farrar showing here.
A little misdirection. He started in the slot and came underneath. He took the handoff. Good block downfield by Brent Ferroni, number 20. First down, Crusaders moving the football near the 30-yard line. Confusion on the Bellaire defensive side of the ball. Lekanudos is stuffed in a pile in the middle of the field. Short gain, if any. And Bellaire looked like they weren't set on defense there, Tom, and like they might have gotten a break. Some guys were out of position, and Steubenville Catholic, could have broken a long one there.
Yeah, just a little adjustment, but they reacted well to the snap of the ball. And tell you one thing about Bellaire's defense, they're going to pursue the football, Mike, so no matter what position they're on in the field, they're going after the football, and they did a nice job of shutting that down play for little or no gain.
Lekanudos got 1, 2nd and 9 from the 31. Now it's the eye in the backfield. Double tight end situation. Split right. Brandon Ice plus straight ahead, and that's pretty much what you see out of Brandon Ice week in, week out.
Well,
good defensive play at linebacker and the quick dives on offense.
Yeah, Brandon's Mr. Consistent. He's a solid player. Coach Farrar would like to see a little bit more offensive output out of him. He does get the tough yardage for the Crusaders, but if he can have a big day today, the Crusaders may indeed spring the upset here at Nelson Field.
Not quite as big, but when you compare, you talk about Mr. Brian Bodor over at Bridgeport. Of course, no one compares to him in size and strength. But if you look at Ice, he runs the same way. Both hands on the football straight ahead. First contact, he's running through that guy and falling down after 4 or 5 yards. Good comparison there. Petrozzi to throw. Has a man wide open behind the secondary, and it's incomplete. Troy Dennis had a sure touchdown if that ball wasn't tipped, and I think it was Ben Taylor.
Well, as we know, it's a game of inches. Last week against Steubenville, Big Red, the late play was just intercepted by a matter of inches. Here's another case. If that ball has just a little bit more on it. Joe Petrozzi, of course, is a strong-arm quarterback. Let's give a little credit on the defensive side of the football. Ben Taylor does a great job at the end of this play of getting his hand in the air and knocking the ball away, which would have been a sure touchdown.
Just inches away from having our first score of the afternoon. The Crusaders will punt it away. Tim Marling at his 34-yard line, hit immediately. And stopped. 85 Tom Clark was there for Steubenville Catholic.
Mike, I can't believe that's 2 punts by Steubenville Catholic Crusaders, and you haven't mentioned Angelo Canella's name yet.
I'm sorry, that was one of my favorite Italian names coming into the ball game.
Yeah, I thought you liked Angelo.
I was watching a replay, and I was worried about looking at that rather than the punt, and I'll take care of Angelo. I'm sure that's not the last time that Steubenville's going to punt today.
Nice punt on that by Angelo.
1st and 10, Big Reds on the 36. Masciarelli, quick 3-step drop, and he's hit by Petrozzi. Ball is loose, recovered by the Crusaders. And there's a Crusader down at the middle of the field, and there's Joe Petrozzi making his first start at defensive end, and he hits Masciarelli from behind. That was very close to being an incomplete pass, but I think he got it before he started forward.
Yeah, it was a good hit on the play by Petrozzi. We talked to Coach Farrar before the game. He said he's going to start to pull out all stops. Petrozzi is one of his best defensive ends. He said, why not get him in the football game, despite the fact he's a quarterback. The recovery on that play was by Eric Taylor, number 88. But great hit by Petrozzi. And haven't seen a number on that injured Crusader yet, Mike, have you?
I haven't seen it yet either. We're trying to see if we can zoom down in there. Craig Farrar, and you see the head coach right there with the papers in his left hand. Yeah, we were talking to Coach Farrar prior to the game, and we said, you know, you're moving your quarterback to defensive end. That doesn't happen often. You risk a lot of injury playing defensive end like that. And he said, well, guys, we're 2-3. And we don't have much to lose. He's one of our best athletes, and we're going to put him there and make something happen. And right away, first quarter, he makes something happen. And Steubenville Catholic gets a big turnover here, and let's see if they can put some points on the board with it.
Well, good athletes make big plays, Mike. I think that's true in all sports. And Joe is a nice-looking youngster. He's a strong 6'2" quarterback. So we see here he comes up big on the defensive end.
6'2", 200-pound senior Joe Petrozzi, and now we see big number 63 getting up out of there. And that's Duke Ford. So Ford is limping off. He's holding his left leg into the air. Ford, a two-way performer. And that'll be bad news if he is out of the rest of the afternoon's action for Steubenville Catholic.
Well, the Crusaders have alternated several other players at the offensive line and defensive line position, so Duke's going to get a little break, and let's hope they can tape him up, and he'll be back in action today.
So, 1st and 10, Steubenville Catholic on the Bellaire 27. Trips left behind Joe Petrozzi, and he's back to throw looking that way. Nowhere to go. Shovels it forward, incomplete.
A little bit of a risky pass there by Joe. If I seen it correctly, Mike, he threw that ball with his left hand. So we get it.
And it was an underhand.
Yeah, it looked like it was a left-handed underhand pass, but we'll get a look at it here and get a better look. But
Ice is trying to hold his block 40 there, but there are the Big Reds coming in, and he did throw it underhand.
While we get a break here, Mike, that's a good chance for me to speak. Passes, if they're thrown forward, whether they're overhand or underhand, they are a forward pass. Conversely, backward, whether it's overhand or underhand, if it goes in a backward direction, it's a lateral or a backward pass. A lot of fans don't know that.
That's a legal play, incomplete pass, because it wasn't caught. 2nd and 10. Joe Lekanudos. Ben Taylor comes up and makes a nice play. Lekanudos and Call were there, but Taylor has made a couple of nice plays, closing from a safety position.
Of course, Benny's getting some looks from some Division I football schools, and it's no wonder. He is a football player, plays on both sides of the football, kicks the football, and we get a chance here to see, once again, Bellaire has great pursuit on the football. We're going to wind up with 3 tacklers in the area. We'll see 31 Call close late on the play after Lekanudos and Taylor have already been there. And the coaches are real pleased with the play of the middle linebacker, Chaz Call. He converted from an outside backer last year and done a nice job in the middle for the Big Reds.
Lemley and Call, sort of undersized middle backers, but they can hit you and pursue. Lekanudos off left tackle, and nowhere to go. Lekanudos makes the stop. Grant Allen, number 12, helping out. Talk about the pursuit of the Big Reds defense. Boy, does Lekanudos and Call and Taylor get there or what?
It's real tough to run outside on the Big Reds for that very reason, Mike. All 4, they're 2 outside backers and their 2 safeties really close on the football. They possess good speed, and it's tough to do anything around the outside against the Big Reds.
They are still working on Duke Fort, number 63, the big junior lineman on the sideline. They're attending to one of his knees. It's his left knee, and it doesn't look to appear to be serious, so he'll be back in here before too long, hopefully. Hope the young man isn't injured. 4th and 7, Steubenville's going to go for it. There's a little mix-up on that play, and the pass is incomplete.
Yeah, Petrozzi immediately went downfield and yelled something at his 2 receivers, so a little mix-up on the offensive end there.
Petrozzi was throwing the hitch, and the receivers were running flies.
Well, I'm not sure whether it was Pavlik or Ferroni that the ball was intended for. They were both in the area, but obviously a little mix-up, and I'm sure the Crusaders will get that straightened out on the sideline.
So Steubenville Catholic cannot convert on the fumble recovery, and Masciarelli and the Big Reds are back out there on their own 25-yard line. Play action, and Masciarelli's got it. He has room, and a lead blocker near midfield, 40, 41-yard line, and pushed out of bounds at about the 41-yard line. Nearest tackler was our Steve McKenzie.
I'll tell you, Mike, they snuck one in on you there. That's the sophomore, number 14, Chris Lednick.
At quarterback.
Yes. As we can see rolling right here, Chris is wide open, takes it down the sideline, so shows some good speed for quarterback. Little missed tackle there, and Lednick's finally knocked out of bounds.
I apologize, Mr.
By Matt Gold.
Boy, the play action pass looked just like Masciarelli.
I'll tell you, both these young quarterbacks do a good job of ball faking for Bellaire.
So the sophomore Lednick is in. The handoff to Masciarelli, or that's Lekanudos. Masciarelli out of the football game.
What's nice, Mike, when you have the luxury of bringing in a sophomore like Lednick, the coaching staff's real high on this young man, and it's great when you can put him in, give Ty a little break in the action.
A couple of weeks ago on our new Channel 7 Game of the Week, Bellaire versus Edison, Masciarelli was a little under the weather, and he wasn't performing up to Masciarelli's standards, so they went with the sophomore, and they threw him right in the fire in a big, heated game against Edison. Performed well, too.
Well, that day, Ty took a big lick right before that, and he had a 103-degree temperature, and the coaches were really impressed with his competitive spirit.
Here's Lednick being pressured and sacked in the backfield.
Yeah, that's Matt Gold and Eric Taylor on the tackle, and both those guys did a great job of meeting Mr. Lednick and the football.
So Lednick, not quite as elusive as Masciarelli, but you weren't going to do anything on that one. The defense was there.
When they're coming at you from both sides, Mike, there's nowhere to run.
But we've seen Jose Davis get out of that a lot of times down here.
Unfortunately, Mr. Jose Davis is up at Kent University.
That is true. 3rd and 16. And that will be the end of the first quarter of action here at Nelson Field. A gorgeous Saturday for football in Bellaire, Ohio. Steubenville Catholic nothing and Bellaire nothing. We're coming back with the second quarter after this on News Channel 7 Sports. Mike Anthony, Tom Bear Bechtel back at Nelson Field on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. What a big weekend of football in the Ohio Valley and, of course, nationally in my Penn State Nittany Lions.
I'll tell you what,
Playing this afternoon.
They may be in big trouble today, Mike. I'll tell you, Ohio State has just looked outstanding in the early season.
Of course, they beat your Fighting Irish last week. So
well,
now you're...
that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. No, quite frankly, Ohio State looked real good last week, and that's going to be a great test. And you know, I'm a Penn State rooter.
Yeah. 3rd and 16 at the 47. Lednick to throw across the middle, and it's nearly picked off. Matt Gold nearly picked that thing off and showing some athleticism. Diving into the air, and Steubenville Catholic holds again.
Well, the Crusader defensive line, Thorne, Golick, Petrozzi, they were all in there on that play. And anytime a quarterback gets pressure of that nature, he's not going to complete too many passes.
Ben Taylor to punt. Lekanudos back deep with 32, Troy Dennis. Lekanudos 22. And Taylor fumbles the snap. Gets it off. And it's bouncing around, and it'll be finally down. There's a flag back by the punter. And they have personal foul running into the kicker on Steubenville Catholic.
Mike, anytime this occurs, it's going to bring some boos from the crowd. We see Taylor does indeed muff the ball, but he picks it up cleanly. He's clearly kicking the football. When he is an obvious kicker, you may not rough him. A lot of people don't understand that rule. They think anytime that the punter fumbles the ball or muffs the ball, that he's free game. But that is not the case. Anytime he has clearly established the fact that he will be a kicker, you may not rough him. Unfortunate break for the Crusaders.
What if he's running on the sideline trying to get some yardage and kicks it on the run?
That's a whole different story. If he's running the football, now he's a runner. But if in that case, we could see Benny had every intention of kicking the ball.
Clearly punting.
That's a real tough play for the defense, though, because it's tough to back off when you see that opportunity to block the kick.
Masciarelli is back in, and he completes it to Lekanudos. And we might have mentioned that Keith Bloom was right on top of that, right by Taylor. And yes, he was in the kicking motion. Good call by Keith Bloom and the crew.
That's a real tough one, though, because the fans are just never going to understand that play. But when you intend to be a kicker, and like I said, on that play, Benny had every intention of kicking the football, then you must give him the privileges of a kicker. And unfortunately for the Crusaders, they pick up a big penalty.
He was lucky it wasn't blocked. Taylor was right into his hands, a good snap. This Taylor took his eyes off it and dropped it. But Bellaire got 7 yards on first down at 2nd and 3. Lekanudos is stopped in the backfield. Good pursuit by 77 Jason Golek. And he stumps Lekanudos short of the first down. It'll be a 3rd and short.
Well,
About 3.
Golek does a great job from that defensive tackle position, and last week we saw him come up big against Steubenville Big Red, and he's just been a strong performer for the Crusaders throughout this early season.
Number 14, Joe Petrozzi, is playing defensive end for the Steubenville Catholic Crusaders. Yes, that's their quarterback. Top of your screen, number 14. Masciarelli, nip from behind and right on cue. Joe Petrozzi sacks his counterpart.
Not bad for Joe. That's 2 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and we get a look at it here. Masciarelli drops back. He never had a chance. Petrozzi hits him hard, forces the fumble. The Big Reds get a break there. They recover the fumble, actually, for a couple-yard gain.
Wow. Bellaire has gotten some breaks here in the last couple of minutes on the muffed punt by Taylor, and now the good play by Petrozzi, and they still can't get the football back. And this is an omen on this drive. 4th and 6, and Bellaire's going to go for it. Masciarelli's going to roll. He has some time. Fires. Taylor. Complete. First down, Big Reds. And boy, that was thrown perfectly.
Yeah, but let's give credit on the other end of the play. Outstanding catch by Benny Taylor. Hope we get a look at this one, Mike. Here we see it. Ball's well delivered by Ty Masciarelli. Watch the extension on this play by Benny Taylor. Fully extended, concentrating on the football. Great hands.
Oh.
Just a super catch, Mike.
And good camera work. That's your buddy Rudy Abraham up top.
My main man, Rudy, hanging there, buddy. The Irish will be back.
1st and 10 on the 12. And here's Masciarelli, running room. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Ty Masciarelli. The Big Reds strike first, and it was an omen on the drive.
Well, if Bellaire's had some success early in this game, it's been running the football by the quarterback. We get a little screen block there for the quarterback, and we'll see at the end of the play, Benny Taylor merely gets in the way, screens for the ball carrier. Masciarelli into the end zone, touchdown, Big Reds.
Number 7, Chad Biggio, almost put a hit on the football and jarred that loose. He was tackling the football instead of the quarterback, and he almost made a big play, but the touchdown goes. Bellaire adds the point after. It's 7-0, Big Reds.
Well, Coach Magister has to breathe a little sigh of relief after that touchdown. In the early going, actually, Steubenville Catholic has outplayed him here for the first 15 minutes of this game, and Big Reds seem to have a little luck this season. They get on the board first.
Ben Taylor muffs a punt, and they end up getting a first down off of it after a roughing the kicker and a good call. And that little turn of events puts Steubenville in a hole here. Bellaire out with a 7-0 lead here at Nelson Field.
Well, Mike, I know you're a believer in that adage. Sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good, and today Big Red's got a little luck on their side.
You know Coach Farrar is fired up. The headset is off and the hat is off.
Yeah, I'm sure he's still discussing that roughing the kicker penalty, and you know, that's going to be on his mind for a while, but they got to get back in the game. They've played a real good football game, and this one's a long, long way from being over.
23, Justin Homer to kick it off. Interesting story on Homer and his father, who was an outstanding place kicker here at Bellaire. We'll get to that when we get a second. And it's picked up by Paul Marook. Got a great block by Ice, and Marook does a lot on his own, and he gets to the 24-yard line.
Mike, the tackle on that play was made by the kicker, Ryan Snyder, number 28. Yeah, Justin Homer's the place kicker, but Ryan Snyder, the junior veteran, junior letterman, kicks off for the Big Reds, and he was downfield to make the tackle. Nice job by Ryan. Now
there goes an instance where I spoke before. I saw number 20-something on the kicker there. It looked just like Homer.
Yeah.
Homer wears 23 and Snyder was 28. I saw the left side of this jersey said 2 on it, and it has to be Homer.
Yeah, no, they're real high on Homer. He's a freshman. Of course, his dad, Gary, was an outstanding kicker. Played a little football down at Ohio University.
1st and 10 for Petrozzi and Ice. Straight ahead, very Ice-like. And he gets about 4 yards just straight ahead, and it seems like he's tackled every time with his head still going into the ground. He comes up with the turf into his face mask, one of those kind of runners. He just falls forward every time.
Well, nothing fancy about Brandon. He's just an old-fashioned throwback type player. Gets those tough 3 and 4 yards each and every time, and he's just a tough customer.
That's a pretty good assessment. We talked about the boater. He runs a little bit like him, straight ahead. Not quite as big, although Ice is a big man.
Nobody's quite as big as Brian Boater.
Thank you. Petrozzi's pass is complete. Brad Pavlik makes the reception. It'll be enough for a first down, or awful close to it. I think he got it by a yard.
Yeah, I think he picked it up, and I'm sure Coach Farrar is glad to see that first down. Quite frankly, in the last 2 weeks, the passing game for Steubenville Catholic has been somewhat anemic. Against Lemley a few weeks ago, they were 3 for 16 with 2 interceptions. Last week against Big Red, 2 for 16, only 19 yards and 3 interceptions, including the clutch one at the end that saved the game for the Big Red.
And
so
Coach Farrar put it to us plain and simple at the beginning. We have to run and throw. We can't do anything right, he's saying. So.
Yeah, they've been a little tough getting the offense going here in the first half.
Ice straight ahead. At the 47-yard line, Bubba Sechrest finally brings him down. And it'll take a guy like Bubba Sechrest to bring Ice down when he's running straight up like that.
Well, we've already talked about the strength that Brandon possesses, and the Crusaders, they need right now to establish a running game and get something going on the offense. They can't allow Bellaire's offense to be on the football field the entire game.
Good choice of holes and a good block by 77 Golek to spring him. Look at the Big Reds. It can't bring the big man down, although Call was underneath that pile, 31. And saw 58 there, Sechrest helping out at the end.
Those last 4 yards were gained just on the leg drive of Brandon Ice.
First and 10, 46-yard line. Nothing doing that time for Mr. Ice.
Yeah, he was tackled by Mike Banning. He's the little defensive end for the Big Reds, and coaches feel that he's one of their best run defenders, and they're just really high on this young man. He's a senior, gets the most out of his ability. He's a little bit undersized for that defensive end position, only 5'8", 175, but he's a typical Bellaire football player.
Hard nose and do what the coaches say, right?
Yes, sir.
2nd and 11, 45-yard line. Quick drop for Petrozzi, and Ben Taylor read that one like a book and nearly picked it off.
Well, if Benny does possess one outstanding skill, it's the ability to read offenses. And on that play, he lined up about 8 to 10 yards deep, but he was there at the line of scrimmage to meet that little flare pass. So once again, Benny Taylor, the coaches have given him a free rein back there, and he closes on the football extremely well.
And I tell you what, if I was the coach of Bellaire, I'd let Taylor do whatever he wants in the defensive backfield, let him read, and let his athletic ability take over. And that's pretty much the job Magistro has done with him.
Well, last year it was Richie Mamie, this year Ben Taylor.
Yep. Here's a little end around, and Bubba Sechrest is not having anything with it, although it gets away. Lekino, and Sechrest nearly cleans up on it. Yeah. Bubba had to stop in the backfield there.
Mike, I hate to keep talking about the same player, but on that play, Benny Taylor started 15 yards deep. 5 yards in the backfield, he nearly made the tackle. We'll see it here.
Here's Bubba Sechrest, and he nearly gets the big stop in the backfield.
We'll see Benny Taylor, number 2, come up here. He'll just miss the tackle right there. He actually started that play 15 yards deep in the secondary, nearly made the tackle 5 yards back in the offensive backfield.
Canella to punt it away.
Angelo.
And the Big Reds get away from it because there's 10 Crusaders around it. It's down at about the 27-yard line. That's where Bellaire will start their possession here with about 5.5 to go in the half. Bellaire leading 7-0 here on News Channel 7's Game of the Week. And the Big Reds will come back out on offense, and we'll see who they bring out on quarterback. They're not going to fool me again. If they bring Lednick back out, I'm going to catch it. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be Masciarelli. I really can't see. It's Masciarelli. And you see Duke Fort on the sideline. His day might be over. The pads are off, and the ice pack is on.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Duke.
Lekanudos is brought down by Lucchino, and boy, do these Crusaders play both sides of the football, and they're around at every play, or what?
Well, just like Bellaire, they're a great defensive team to watch. They close well on the football. They're short tacklers. Most of these Crusaders tackle around the ankles, and that's the way you get the ball carrier to the turf. So, 2 great teams to watch here if you love defensive football.
And either that's Duke Fort's mother in front of us, or someone likes to wear about 30 pins and say number 63 is my son on them.
Yeah, I think she's going down to check on her youngster.
Play action for Masciarelli. Has a man wide open, Sochor, and he dropped the football. The ball was just a hair underthrown, but Derek, you got to catch that one, my man.
Yeah, that would have been a nice hook up there, and we get a chance to look at it here, Mike. Ball was aired out. Derek did have about a 2 or 3 yard lead. It hits him squarely in the breadbasket.
Yeah.
And, he had Chad Biggio beat a little bit on that play, but unfortunately for the Big Reds, the ball falls to the turf, going to set up a 3rd down and 8 situation.
John Medistro doesn't like to see those things happen.
That would have been a big-time play.
Masciarelli back to the air on play action. Going down the sidelines again. It's tipped. Call the intended receiver. Good defense, Zukowski, number 12.
Yeah, the Crusaders had good coverage on that play. Brad Pavlik, the junior defensive back, was also in the area. Nice job. We see the defender here get his hand on the football. Call was still concentrating, but the ball was tipped behind him and no chance to come up with the catch.
And Call knows the corner is coming, the safety is coming from the inside, and if that ball's a little further ahead, he can either catch that or get nailed. Taylor to kick it away. Side of his foot. Biggio saying get away from it. Out of bounds. Didn't even get past midfield. So Steubenville Catholic gets another mini break here, and they'll take over with good field position. Let's see if they can punch one in before the half here. About 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, that kick only covered 20 yards, and the Crusaders are going to be set up in great field position at the 48-yard line of the Big Reds.
So Joe Petrozzi brings this Crusaders out. 21 Pavlik hustling off the field. Brent Ferroni, 20, split to the right. He's one-on-one with Grant Allen down here. I in the backfield, Ice Lucchino. It's Joe Lucchino. And you cannot run laterally against Bellaire. Ben Taylor, another clinic. What a good stop coming up.
I tell you, this young man has to be tired at the end of the day. He runs 50 yards on every play, but once again, it's tough to get outside. The cornerbacks get out there, turn you inside, and here comes Mr. Taylor with the surefire tackle.
I'm sure Coach Farrar would, like to do something differently, but the short passing game isn't working, and they're not getting much, time for the quarterback to throw the football. So they got to keep trying to run it, and maybe they might actually gain some yardage on that.
Well, to his credit, there he's trying to stretch the Big Red defense a little bit, and then now he comes back with a.
Petrozzi, incomplete. One hops Pavlik. He had a couple of receivers down here. Ice was doing a hook and curl, 40.
I'm not sure
Clark, 85, was curling, and then I don't even think the ball was intended for Pavlik.
Well, they actually had 4 receivers in the area. We'll get a look at it here, and I'm not so sure that pass wasn't intended for one of the up receivers, maybe number 88, Eric Taylor there, or Tommy Clark, 85. So that ball may have been just overthrown to the short receivers, but an awful lot of Crusaders out in one general area.
Awfully hard to miss. You have 4 guys there, but he did. 3rd and 11. Now the 4 receivers set. Watch out for Marook in the slot right. He's running across the middle of the field. The pass is intercepted. Clint Lekanudos has running room. He cuts it back in, and Petrozzi makes the tackle, but Clint Lekanudos comes up big with another interception.
Well, that was a little different look for the Crusaders there, Mike. They come out in the one back, probably what you down at Wheeling Park might call the run and shoot offense, and they had 4 wideouts, and Petrozzi just threw an ill-timed ball, and Clint Lekanudos has made some big plays for the Big Reds this year. Of course, we all remember his interception to beat Edison in that great football game early in the season, and once Clint has the football, he does possess some good speed, and Big Reds are in great field position.
Now the shoe's on the other foot. Masciarelli, quick 3-step drop, completes it to Grant Allen. He fumbles, and it's recovered or out of bounds. Steubenville Catholic football, and I don't think Coach Magistro is going to like that too much.
No,
although he's being pretty calm over there.
Well, that's one of those plays, Mike, when you're trying to create a play, coaches obviously don't like turnovers, but in this situation, the receiver was just trying to get some extra yardage. He got stuck pretty good, and Crusaders come up with a big recovery.
Boy, it was hard to tell from our vantage point whether that football was out of bounds or not. I thought it was going to be ruled out of bounds, but
Mike, that's a long, long way from our vantage point.
That's true, and I'm getting older with my birthday being this weekend, and I really can't see that far over there.
Let's give my buddies on the sideline there just a little benefit of the doubt. They were right on top of the play.
1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. Ice is chilled in the middle of the defense by Bellaire. Just saying, it looked like it was out of bounds. It was pretty far over there.
Yeah, well, that's a long, long way from ours, Mike, and I can't even see that far, to be honest. But
who's working the sideline over there on the crew?
That's my buddy George Kelchak, outstanding official. Mike, the Crusaders did not want to fall behind 14-0 here in the second quarter, so that was a great fumble recovery, and they just need to possess the football here and maybe get it down and get a scoring opportunity here before the halftime intermission.
Petrozzi, option right, Ice, bowls ahead. And boy, did Jeremy Lemley take the brunt of that, helmet to helmet, and they both get up, but I'm sure Lemley felt that one because Ice ran right over him.
Well, Brandon has a little weight advantage on Jeremy, but we get a chance to watch it here, Mike.
Watch their helmets hit here, Tom. Luckily, nobody's hurt. Helmet to helmet, I think. Boom. Right there. Taylor pushed him back after Lemley had slowed him down with his head.
Well, we've talked about Benny, and it seems like every time the Crusaders run the football, Taylor's somewhere in the general vicinity.
3rd and 3. Just under 3 to play in the half. Lekanudos, left tackle. Does he have enough for the first down? I think he does. Is that Taylor again on the stop? First down, Steubenville Catholic moving the chains as they prepare for homecoming festivities here at Bellaire, but that's going to have to wait another couple of minutes before the half is over.
Well, Coach Farrar wanted that first down. They didn't want to have to turn the football over. Blair would have had good field position around midfield, so it's a big first down. And like we said before, the Crusaders like to keep moving the football and keep it out of the hands of the explosive Blair offense.
Here comes Joe Petrozzi with the eye in the backfield. Play action, has a man open. The slant is there, and the pass is a little too far, and now flags fly at the line of scrimmage.
There is a flag on the play.
Is that illegal man downfield?
Mike, that's what I would expect. Yeah, that flag was thrown by the umpire and one of the wingmen, so that...
Explain to me that rule.
Okay, Mike, we'll see it on the replay here. One of the Crusader linemen drifted downfield, and of course the rule is you cannot go downfield as an offensive lineman until the ball is thrown, and if you're beyond the expanded neutral zone, of course you're going to be assessed a penalty.
What is that, about 5 yards or so?
That is 5 yards, correct, Mike. Of course, with the incomplete pass, they're going to decline the penalty. So it'll set up a 2nd down and 10 situation, Mike.
You're right on top of all the rules today.
I better know them, Mike.
Don Zini's going to be proud of you.
I would take a lot of abuse if I didn't know them. Take abuse anyways, Mike. That doesn't matter.
2nd and 10 for the Crusaders just before the half. Option right. Petrozzi pitches it to Lekanudos. 5 Big Reds are there. And that play didn't develop quick enough as they would like to have. And Ben Taylor was there again, number 2.
Well, the Crusaders do not really possess a breakaway type back, Mike, and it's awfully tough. They like to run outside, but we see it here on the play. Nowhere to go inside with the option, so the ball's pitched wide. And as you can see here,
Lemley, Sochor, Taylor right there, 2, 3, and 7.
Yeah, the cornerbacks from Bellaire, Sochor and Lekanudos, are both extremely quick, and they don't allow you to run outside on the Big Reds.
It's a 3rd and 12. Petrozzi and Ben Taylor nailed him. Troy Dennis, or is that Lekanudos, 22 or 32?
I believe that's Joe Lekanudos, and he actually possessed the ball for a split second, but Ben Taylor delivered a big-time lick, and Lekanudos did not have an opportunity to hold on to the football. We see it here on the replay, and just a big-time hit. Benny Taylor once again closing on the football. It's in the hands of the receiver just for a second, and here comes the lick. Big-time stick by Mr. Taylor.
Good camera work again by our crew today. It must be the sun that they like today.
I'll tell you what, they've got to love it this week. Last week, conditions were just miserable.
And the field's a little bit better shape than it was last week. Angelo Canella gets it out of there, and it's down to Tim Marling at the 43-yard line. Across the 50 to the 45, 40 into the 36-yard line, where he's finally brought down.
Of course, that was a nice return by Timmy Marling. He's been out with a little bit of a knee injury in the last couple of games, but Timmy does possess some speed and does a nice job returning kicks for the Big Reds.
It looks like a minute 25 on the clock. Hard to see with the sun on the clock here at Nelson. Looks like a buck and a quarter, and that's a lot of time for Bellaire with this good field position at their 36-yard line at Steubenville. Masciarelli to the air. He has Call wide open in the middle of the field. He hits him inside the 10-yard line for a Bellaire first and goal.
Well, Mike, nothing fancy about that play. Taylor and Grant Allen just ran fly routes on both sides of the field. They send a tight end Call, who does possess good speed, right down the middle. Masciarelli, simple pass down the middle. Call out runs the defenders, and nice reception. Big Reds, 1st and 5.
Brad Pavlik, 21, closed and made the stop before we got into the end zone, but it's a 1st and goal for the Bellaire Big Reds at the 5-yard line. Masciarelli rolling right, nowhere to go, and he makes the best out of it. Looked like nothing, maybe got an inch or two, but it'll be 2nd and goal from about the 4-yard line now.
Yeah, fortunately for Bellaire, Masciarelli did get out of bounds, stops the clock at 1:05, and it's going to give the Bellaire Big Reds several more opportunities to get into the end zone.
Looks like 1:05 left on the clock. Plenty of time for Bellaire, and now Steubenville Catholic wants to burn a timeout and talk about it.
Well, I think it's a good call by Coach Farrar. He'd like to get his defense set up, and right now the Crusaders are reeling just a little bit from that big pass play to call, but it's going to be awful tough for the Big Reds to get the ball in the end zone. I would expect some type of play-action type pass, Mike, fake the run and a little pass to maybe the tight end or one of the other receivers.
How about our News Channel 7 games of the week next week, Tom Bechtel? Going to be a big one. You know, I'm fired up for Brook in Wheeling Park at Brook Memorial. That's next Friday. And then, of course,
Saturday we have the meeting of the two small school Catholic Pirates in previous years, I should say, Mike, but we're at Madonna and Bishop Donahue. They both have they've had outstanding programs in the past. Of course, tonight I'm all excited, Mike. Alumni Bowl 1, Glenville, West Liberty. I'll tell you, I've done a little bit of reading up on both those teams, and there should be a lot of excitement at the Allen Stadium tonight.
Boy, is Bob Eaton excited about playing down there, or what? He'd love to play every game down there, and I think they're going to do it again next year, obviously, with number 2. But let's get number 1 under our belts first, and there should be a nice crowd at the Island tonight.
Of course, Glenville State, their quarterback last year, I think he's playing for the Baltimore Ravens in the NFL, so they've had a tradition of outstanding quarterbacks. This year they got a great one. Both teams are off to slow starts in terms of record, but they've played some national Pirates, so it should be a entertaining game tonight, to say the least.
And I think Fort is done for the afternoon. Masciarelli on 3rd and goal. A 2nd and goal. Touchdown, Grant Allen!
He bobbled it there for a second, Mike. I thought he was going to drop it, but once again, this play was created by Ty Masciarelli's ability to get away from the on-rushing defenders. We see it here. Ty, nice defensive rush by the Crusaders, but Ty has pretty good foot speed, gets outside, creates the play. Grant Allen wide open in the end zone. Little juggle there, but nice job of clutching the football by Grant Allen, veteran senior receiver.
Maybe Allen was remembering the fumble on the last possession. And now here's the homer. Up and good. Justin Homer adds the placement, and it's 14-0 Bellaire, and they get on the scoreboard just before halftime, something Steubenville Catholic didn't want to have happen.
Well, Mike, despite the outstanding season that Bellaire had last year, we all know about it, their kicking game was somewhat suspect, but this year the young freshman's come in. He's a solid extra point man, gives them a little bit of range on field goals, and I'm sure Coach Magista is real happy to see that young man out there kicking the extra points.
Now, how can you talk about a kicking game on Bellaire's team last year?
Well, quite frankly, they didn't need to kick other than extra points.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, so Bellaire has a 2-touchdown lead just before the halftime ceremonies are about to take place in the Bellaire Homecoming Queen of '96. If I'm not mistaken, Emily Fetters, track star here at Bellaire, was last year's Homecoming Queen.
Well, Mike, I know you know all about those Homecoming Queens, so I'll defer to you on.
We'll let the PA and halftime ceremonies take place here on News Channel 7 at halftime. You'll see the entire halftime show with the halftime ceremonies and the bands. A squib.
Jim? Was that
No.
Jim Squibb? Oh, I'm sorry, Mike.
And it's downed. Troy Dennis took it.
I'm not sure your esteemed boss, Mr. Scribble, would appreciate that comment, Mike.
Now,
I know he has a good sense of humor.
Now, when we do Lindsley and Bridgeport coming up in a couple of weeks, which is going to be
Then
an outstanding game, you can, throw some jabs in there.
We're already looking for that one. I'll tell you, I hate to look too far ahead, but
Right.
two undefeated teams as we speak, and there are some outstanding matchups, and we're real fortunate that one's going to be on News Channel 7 late in the season.
Get your tickets now, I'm telling you. Petrozzi to hand off Lucchino, who looks fine after being nailed by Taylor in the last possession. Bubba Sechrest, their team on this possession. Now, you don't want to be hit by Taylor and Sechrest too many times.
Well, Bubba just, he's got that defensive mentality, and he's a very enthusiastic type player, and he's always around the football, does a nice job. Of course, he was a solid performer on the 95 playoff team.
Now 30 seconds to go, and you wouldn't even know that Bubba Sechrest didn't even practice this whole week.
Yeah, Coach has said he's been nicked and bruised this week and didn't have a real opportunity to practice, but they said Bubba's a competitor, and he's going to be there when the whistle blows for the kickoff.
Second down, ice straight ahead. And the ice man gets across the 35 to about the 37 before he's brought down.
Of course, Mike, you alluded to the fact about some nagging injuries, and that's one thing. The Big Reds, if they're going to continue success this season, they're going to have to stay injury-free because they're not a real deep team, and if they can stay free of the injury, who knows what's going to happen this season.
And they're leading 14-0 at halftime. Bellaire and Steubenville Catholic have met the halfway point. We'll be back to crown the 96 homecoming queen of Bellaire after this on News Channel 7 Sports.
Tyler Beckham, Karen Janiszewski, John Dominic, and Dave Bloomquist. That's the most qualified anchor team to watch on the Ohio Valley's newest newscast. First at 5, weekdays at 5, only on News Channel 7. Tyler and Karen promise to bring you a fresh approach to covering the Ohio Valley's first look at the evening's top news stories, plus news you can live with. Of course, an evening newscast would not be complete without John Dominic's guaranteed weather, backed by 75 meteorologists and the Ohio Valley's most respected forecasting service, AccuWeather. Rounding out First at 5 and providing a strong finish is Dave Bloomquist with his personal approach and unique style for covering local sports. Plus, First at 5 will be providing live location reports from all around the Ohio Valley. First at 5, weekdays at 5, only on News Channel 7, where the news is continuing to grow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join the Crusaders band in our national anthem. The flag will be raised.
This afternoon, Christy is being escorted across the field by her father, Mr. Daniel Zelkowski. Miss Christy Zelkowski. We are now ready for the naming of our 1996 Bellaire High School homecoming queen. The 1996 Bellaire High School homecoming queen is Miss Tessa Zanke. Presenting the crown to our 1996 homecoming queen is last year's queen, Miss Emily Fetters.
Mike Anthony and Tom Bechtel back at a packed Nelson Field, and a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon here in Bellaire. As always, Saturdays in the fall, Bellaire football. They lead Steubenville Catholic Central 14-0 at the intermission, as we just about ready to get set to start the second half here. And we have the halftime stats. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, in the first half, first downs, Bellaire led 9-5. Yards rushing, Bellaire picked up 64 yards on 13 carries. Steubenville Catholic had 61 yards on 21 carries. Passing, Bellaire was 6 for 11 for a total of 99 yards. Steubenville was 2 for 9 with 1 interception, total of 16 yards. The battle of the total yards, Bellaire won 163-78. Penalties were relatively non-existent. Bellaire had 3 for 30 yards. Steubenville had 1 big penalty for 15 yards. The big key in the first half, Bellaire had 2 fumbles, which Steubenville Catholic did not convert upon. Steubenville Catholic on there had 1 interception. So, Mike, statistically, Bellaire's won the battle of statistics other than the turnovers.
Joe Lekanudos, the quarterback for Steubenville Catholic, playing his first game on the defensive side of the football with defensive end.
Joe Petrazzi.
Joe Petrazzi. I said Lekanudos?
Yes, you did.
Too many Joes and too many Italians.
Mike, I think you're worried about that wedding you're going to in a few hours.
And Petrazzi has played well on defense, forcing 2 fumbles. But Steubenville Catholic wasn't able to turn any of those fumbles into points.
Yeah, let's give Coach Ferrara credit with a good coaching move there. Joe Petrazzi's been inserted to the defensive line, came up with 2 great sticks in that first half, created 2 fumbles, one of which the Crusaders recovered, the other one was recovered by the Big Reds. But Joe's come up big on the defensive side of the football. Crusaders played a good first half. Once again, it's just been a matter of trying to get that passing game in gear. 2 for 9. That's not the kind of statistics that any coach likes to look at halftime. And, in the last 3 games, they just have not thrown the football real well and haven't come up with some big receptions. So in the second half, I'm sure you're going to look for Steubenville to hit on a few of those passes, Mike.
I saw the Steubenville Catholic game. Well, you did too. You were pretty close to the action, refereeing the game. And they were an inch or 2 away from having a big game-winning touchdown that was intercepted. The ball was underthrown shortly this afternoon. There was another ball just underthrown that could have put Steubenville Catholic ahead early.
Yeah, well, in defense of Joe Petrazzi last week on that last play of the Big Red game, he was under heavy pressure, actually stepped up in the pocket to avoid the rush, did a good job delivering the football, but once again, we talk about it being a game of inches, and if that ball was just a few inches higher, the Crusaders might have come out with a big win, but that old saying about ifs and nuts, Mike, it just didn't occur. And quite frankly, Steubenville Catholic, they have a playoff tradition. They've been there 5 out of the last 7 years. And, I know all the fans in the stands here, they're here for that very reason. They'd like to see the Crusaders in the playoffs, but, they probably need to win the rest of their football games, including today. So they're going to need a big turnaround here in the second half if they have any playoff aspirations.
Yeah, we were talking to their athletic director, John Serafini, and he was joking with us at how many more undefeated teams can we play here?
Well, let's talk about that, Mike. Murderers Row, 1995, 4th week of the season, they line up against an undefeated Lemley. 5th week of the season, undefeated Steubenville. The next week, an undefeated Bellaire squad. Following week, Indian Creek, who was 6-0. So they faced 4 straight undefeated teams last year. This year, how about an instant replay?
Same undefeated teams.
Lemley 3-0, Steubenville 4-0, Bellaire once again 5-0. Fortunately, Indian Creek is not on the schedule this year, although last year they probably knocked Indian Creek out of the playoffs with a big upset victory. So, they just have an unbelievably tough schedule for a Division 5 squad. But this is the schedule they're accustomed to playing. That is Steubenville Catholic Crusader football. They've had great success. And like we said, if not for a matter of a couple big plays this year, who knows what could happen. But still a lot of time remaining in this football game, Michael.
No, I see, but the creek is rising. They're already undefeated. And
my old buddy Sam Fornsag, of course, he goes back slinging Sam, and off to a great start. And where's he come up with all those big football players? That Mike, I thought they were huge last year, and they may be as big this year.
Big Dave Boyuk in the backfield, and Matt Lauk, unbelievable job. Their quarterback Bird with a strong arm, and I saw one of their assistant coaches here at halftime, Coach Retton. Yeah, well, he's fired up about the season. Well, of course, John always is.
Well, I'm sure the Redskins came so close last year. They'd love to be in the playoffs in the state of Ohio in '96.
We're underway in the second half here at Nelson Field. Bellaire with a 2-touchdown lead, and Brandon Ice fumbles the opening kickoff of the second half, but picks it up and is tackled right away by 31 Chaz Call. and Ryan Brooks, number 36.
Well, Ryan was the starting fullback early in the season. Unfortunately, he had an injury, and Coach Magistro said to me this morning he would like to work Ryan back in the lineup, but quite frankly, Richie Materkoski has just done a real good job of filling in at that fullback position in the absence of a Brooks.
So Steubenville Catholic gets their first possession of the second half. You saw 20, Brent Ferroni come out of the play, and 22, Joe Lekanudos lines up in the tailback spot. Behind the big man, the Iceman, Brian Ice. Petrozzi's going to throw on first down. The big hitter on first down, and no flags. Marook wants a flag. Lekanudos was playing defense.
Yeah, well, Joe Petrozzi is a strong arm man, and we see here on the play, I'll tell you, unfortunately we don't have a replay, Mike, but Paul Marook was momentarily opened. He looked for the flag, but no call.
I think he was momentarily bumped too.
No comment from this end, Michael.
2nd and 10 from the 19. There goes Ferroni in motion. Handoff, Lekanudos. I think I got this one, Tom. I'm going to say illegal motion.
Mike, I think you'll be correct in that assessment.
See, I can do football. I'm not just a basketball guy.
Mike, I think you're a man for all sports. As we see there by the referee, Keith Bloom, it was an illegal motion penalty. It's going to back him up and set up a 2nd down and 15 situation.
So, Steubenville Catholic pushing themselves back. I guess Coach Farrar came out of the halftime, went for it all on that first play. 1st and 10, they threw the long one, and they were looking for their big play man, Marook, to make something happen. And they figured, hey, maybe we'll stun Bellaire. Long halftime with the halftime ceremony.
Well,
come out and do something.
It was certainly a good play call, and Marook did have the defender beaten. If that ball could have been thrown just a little bit more underneath it, I think Marook would have been off to the races.
We have said that before. It's 2nd and 15. Petrozzi with the eye in the backfield. And it's Ice starting inside and bouncing outside. Ben Taylor, another tackle. We should have gotten Taylor's tackling stats at halftime.
I'll tell you what, you need a calculator to add him up. But,
I'm telling you, he's been around 20 or so plays.
Well, last year, if you watched the Big Reds, it seemed like every defensive stop, Richie Mamie. This year, it seemed like Ben Taylor stepped right in and filled out that role and just does a great job on the defensive side of the football.
Of course, Mamie, the all-time leading tackler here in Bellaire history, but Taylor might get the record today.
You never know. You never know. Yeah, Richie just had unbelievable stats in terms of tackling. He's not only the all-time leading one season, he also holds it for all three seasons. So he was just an unbelievable defensive football player.
3rd and 10. Petrozzi has trips, and he fires, and it's incomplete. Behind Lemley.
Yeah, that pass was just a little bit too tall for Nick, and no chance to come up with that reception.
So Steubenville Catholic Central has to punt it out of there. And then Angelo Canella comes in to punt it away.
One of my favorite punters, Mike. Of course, the Big Red receivers are going to stand right around the 50-yard line, so once again, Bellaire's going to have great field position.
Marling and Materkoski. Marling with room, but he can't get to his blocks. And we'll settle for a 1st and 10 at about the 37-yard line, which is great field position.
Well, Timmy did a great job there of catching the football, and although he picked up short yardage, anytime you're back there as a receiver, Mike, you'll want to catch that punt in the air, and any yardage is just gravy after the catch.
Great field position for Bellaire in the second half, leading 14-0. Ty Masciarelli with Materkoski and Lekanudos in the backfield. Back to throw, Masciarelli. Little quick dump to Lekanudos. Had a couple of blocks, but the defense was there, and Petrozzi is hurt. Joe Petrozzi is shaken up.
Well, we know Joe's a tough competitor. He's a big, strong kid, and he's up on his feet already, but hopefully it's just a little nick or a bruise or a little stinger there,
It looks
Mike.
like a stinger because he's shaking his hand. And the word from downstairs in the trainer's room is that the Fort was taken to the hospital. On the stretcher, he has a strained knee ligament.
Yeah, that's
They
unfortunate.
wheeled him out of here, and then they got him into the hospital. He has a strained knee ligament.
Of course, we see in there Joe's playing with a big pad on his right arm, so not some injuries that the Crusader staff wants to see.
Masciarelli to throw on 2nd and 8. Steps up and completes it to Chaz Call. You better believe it. Great diving catch, and Chaz Call showing great strength in his fingers.
Yeah, what the credit to play on this one. The ball was actually a little overthrown, and Call did a great job of extending and getting to the football. And
We have an official timeout.
tell you, Masciarelli has a rather odd way of delivering the football, but he gets it near the receivers, and these big red receivers have come up real big today with some nice catches.
And they're going to call an official's timeout to measure.
Mike, did we give credit for those halftime statistics to our old buddy Hoot Gibson?
Well, we haven't yet. They were close to what the PA announcer gave.
Well, Hoot's a good friend of ours from the Times Leader, and he provided those halftime stats, and we certainly want to give him credit.
Hoot, of course, a former official in the Ohio Valley.
He's one of the great sportsmen in the Ohio Valley. He just loves games, and anytime you see high school action going on, you'll see Hoot Gibson at the game.
He's like the rest of your field and gym rats like Gene Amarante and Ken Clifford and the guys we saw at halftime.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of fans here today.
At 3rd and 1, they didn't make it. Masciarelli takes it himself. He gets the first down for the Big Reds. That will move the chains.
Quite frankly, Mike, the Crusaders can ill afford to allow the Big Reds in the end zone here in the 3rd quarter, because they just don't have that big play potential that some other teams possess, and they get down 3 touchdowns. It's going to be a long afternoon for the Crusaders.
Bellaire chewing up a lot of the 3rd quarter clock here with this drive. Taylor split man-to-man to the right. 3rd man through. Lekanudos fights behind one of his blocks and is drugged down. He had about 5 yards, and then he got pushed back, and I don't think he got any. But forward progress will mark him with positive yardage. First down.
Yeah, basically, Mike, the Crusader defense has come up pretty strong today. They've done a good job of stopping the rush. As we alluded to, Bellaire had 64 yards in the first half, but that was pretty much a standstill in terms of rushing yardage. But Bellaire has hurt him through the airways with that 99 yards in the first half.
2nd and 7. Near the 20. Taylor split right one-on-one with Biggio. Masciarelli hands to Materkoski. Ice made the stop for the Crusaders, and Materkoski, who's having a nice year. A couple of touchdowns a week ago and one last week.
Well, Richie started out the season as a wide receiver. He and Grant Allen were sharing time out on the wing. But there we see our cameraman down in the end zone, right on the scene. Is that Danny Mayers?
Danny Mayers. The Bulldog, as you call him. Here's Masciarelli. Petrozzi is there, and
We're going to have a flag on that play, Mike, and I think it's going to be intentional grounding. Yeah, we see the indication there by Keith Loon, the referee, and as soon as that flag comes out from the referee's position on a play like that, it's going to be intentional grounding. It's going to be 5 yards and loss of down, so not a real big penalty for the Big Reds.
Petrozzi again.
Well, I'll tell you, Joe's come up strong on that defensive side of the football, and as Coach Farrar said, he's a very good athlete, and we just want to get him in there playing 48 full minutes, and he's going to help this team on the defensive side of the football.
You always worry about playing your quarterback and getting hurt.
Well, I think
Petrozzi was nicked a couple of plays ago, but he's back in there.
Well, I think you alluded to the fact that, at this stage of the season, 2 and 3, and like we said, there's a lot of Crusader fans in the stands today, and they all have playoff aspirations, and if that has any chance of being a reality, they need to come up big here today, and he just felt Joe was going to help him on the defensive side of the ball.
4th and 17 after the intentional grounding. Taylor is split right one-on-one with Biggio again. See if the Bellaire Big Reds can convert on a 4th and long. Masciarelli lofts it towards Taylor. Great work on the sidelines. Taylor gets down. Is it enough for the first down? They need to make just inside
Yeah,
the 15. They did. They got it by about 4 yards. Great effort, one-on-one.
Mike,
Taylor.
what can we say about the young man, Benny Taylor? We've sang his praises all season long, and just a case here of great concentration by the receiver. Does a super job of getting his feet down right into the sideline, drags his left foot, and he's in bounds, and key first down pickup for the Bellaire Big Reds.
Wow. They convert on 4th and 17. And now Lekanudos carries inside the 10. A yard or two, but how about the 4th and 17? What was it, 4th and 13?
Well, we know Bellaire has the big play potential, and they've shown this year in, year out. And, of course, they run the type offense, Mike, 4th down and 13 or 4th down and 17, whatever the case may be. Doesn't scare the Big Reds. Whether it's 1st down or 4th down, they got the ability to put the football in the air, and they've shown 3 or 4 gentlemen that can certainly catch the football.
Call made a nice catch on the same drive earlier, a diving snag.
Well,
4th and long. Taylor makes a big one.
Well, we've had the opportunity to see Bellaire. This, I think, is our 4th or 5th occasion, and Benny's been kind of quiet, but he's coming up big on the offensive side of the ball today.
Masciarelli zips it in the middle. Touchdown, Ben Taylor. 9 yards, and the Big Reds strike again. What an unbelievable afternoon for Mr. Ben Taylor.
Well, Todd Masciarelli's done a great job of delivering football. Nothing fancy about this route. Ben really goes into the end zone, button hooks, and the ball is delivered on cue. Benny Taylor, big touchdown reception.
Justin Homer out of a hold of Lednick. Bad snap, Lednick gets it off. That looked awful design, but I don't think it was, and Lekanudos is stopped short of the goal line. So the pass fails, 20-0 Big Reds.
Well, Mike, once again, that's not what Coach Farrar wanted to see. You know, Steubenville Catholic is basically a grinded out type offense when they can get the offense going, and unfortunately being down 20-0, they're going to have to open up their offense just a little bit. And as I hate to keep alluding to the fact, but last few weeks their passing game has not been successful to any extent.
How about the 4th and long conversion for Bellaire, keeping that drive going, and you just knew that something good was going to happen for Bellaire at the end of that drive, and it culminated in a touchdown. And Taylor took it in, and what an unbelievable afternoon Ben Taylor has had. He is racking up some incredible tackling stats, and he's playing great on the offensive side of the football. What an afternoon for him.
Well, they always talk about if you have a horse, you have to ride him, and certainly if Bellaire possesses one horse, it is Ben Taylor. In that case, big 4th down play conversion, and Big Reds appear to be on their way to a 6-0 start.
Ryan Snyder to kick it off. Back deep to receive, Joe Lekanudos. And it comes down to the Iceman. He has running room for the big man. Bulls his way in to about the 32-yard line.
I'll tell you, you got to love Brandon Stout. Shades of Larry Zonka from yesteryear. I don't imagine you know who he was, Mike. But,
Come on.
The big Zonk man for the Miami Dolphins used to tuck that ball in with 2 hands. And Brandon Ice, I'll tell you, I love his style.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday this weekend, so I'm getting older. I know who Zonko was. Are you kidding me? Here's the Iceman. Watching this bull into Jimmy Preston, number 40. 40 on 40. I'll take that, man. Look at him wrap that up. Boom.
Quite unusual, the ball carrier delivering the blow.
A la Walter Payton. Now here's Chad Biggio at quarterback. He is swarmed under. Taylor initially made the stop, but then Call got the tackle.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Magister earlier in the week, he said that he thought Steubenville Catholic might go with Biggio as a starting quarterback today. Had a chance to see Chad earlier in the season on the defensive side of the ball, and he's a good athlete. He's quick, and you know, he may be the quarterback of the future for the Crusaders. So Coach Farrar here making a little change in the offense, trying to get something going.
Biggio will be the heir apparent to Petrozzi. Biggio just the junior. 2nd and 8. Biggio, play action. Fires. Complete. Brad Pavlik at about the 46-yard line. It'll be enough for a Crusader first down. Biggio comes in and throws a 15-yard out.
Yeah, Chad looked like he had a nice delivery on that football. Of course, Joe Petrozzi was shaken up a little bit on that last series, so maybe it's just a matter of trying to give Joe. He is standing down on the sidelines, and appears the coaching staff just trying to give Joe a little bit of a rest.
20-0, Bellaire leading. Ball at the 46-yard line. Steubenville Catholic needs something to happen on this drive. Option, Lucchino. Grant Allen is there to make the stop, along with Lemley, number 7. Bellaire's defense is stringing you out today.
Yeah, well, they strung that play out well, but Crusaders still come up with a 4-yard gain, and credit that to Lucchino. Just a nice job of carrying the football.
Brings up a 2nd down and 6.
He got 4. So Biggio comes in, and the Crusaders start to move the football. Ball just inside the 49. And look out. Jason Golick, 77, moved a little bit early.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Crusaders just starting to get something going there, and they're going to pick up a 5-yard penalty, set up a 2nd and 11.
Big Mr. Golick just can't hide that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, when the linemen commit penalties, it's out there for the world to see, and
you really can't step forward and go in motion like a back might and get away with it.
yeah, that was always a nice thing about playing running back. You can go in motion and act like you meant to do it.
Oh yeah, 2nd and 11. Steubenville Catholic backed up. Lucchino and brought down by Bubba Sechrest, but I think Sechrest had a handful of masks.
Yeah, there wasn't any blockers out there, so that almost had to be a face mask call, and that should be a big markup. Yep, that's going to be a big mark off against the Big Reds.
And I made another call here, Tom.
I'll tell you what, Mike, you've been right on these calls today.
See if we can detect Mr. 58, Bubba Sechrest. That right hand is right there.
Yeah, you can see the hand was up in the mask area, and that's going to be a big 15-yard mark off. The Crusaders are going to have it 1st down and 10 around the 39-yard line.
So Steubenville Catholic gets a minor break, and they get the football moving inside the 39. Chad Biggio inserted in here into the 3rd quarter with the Steubenville Catholic Crusaders down 20-0. Ice, and he gets one, if that. Lemley, number 7, was there. And how many times have we called Jeremy Lemley's name today, Tom?
Well, a middle linebacker, it's expected in the Bellaire defensive scheme, is going to get a lot of tackles. And Mr. Call and Mr. Lemley are around the football. And also 58, Bubba Sechrest.
Just can't get over the game that Ben Taylor has played this afternoon. And maybe we fired his father up before the game.
Yeah, Ben, his father is quite a football fan, and he's always in the stands for every Bellaire game.
Half the time.
In any sport.
Biggio is pressured. Bubba Sechrest brings him down.
Also, big Aaron Chirpas, the big junior defensive tackle, 235 pounds, 6'1", Chirp. We get a chance to look at it here on the replay, Mike, and
there's Sechrest and there's Chirpas, 2 guys you don't want falling on top of you. 3rd and about 15 for SCC. See if Chad Biggio has a 3rd and 16 under his belt here.
Well, the Crusaders don't like to be faced with this situation, but Chad has shown a little looseness back there in the pocket, and maybe he can complete a pass here, pick up a big 1st down.
Brad Pavlik is split left. Bottom of your screen, one-on-one with Lekanudos. He'll have help inside from Allen. That's where Biggio's looking. Pressured, down he goes. John Keller made the stop.
Once again, Mike, the Steubenville Crusaders did not give Chad Biggio any time. 3 Big Reds. We see Chirpas come in there, nearly get the sack. Tell you, Biggio kept his poise, still attempted to pass the ball, but just too many tacklers in the area, and John Keller, steady performer for the Big Reds, finishes him off.
I don't know how Chirpas missed him there. Big number 77. Biggio got out of it, but doesn't get out of this. 4th down, and Canella will punt it away. Short return ball. That's Grant Allen. Gets about 6 yards on the return. That's where Bellaire will take over on their next possession. So Biggio comes in and moves him a little bit. Didn't do much worse or better than Joe Petrozzi.
Yeah, Chad breathed a little life into the Crusader offense. But once again, you got to give that quarterback just a little bit of time. And every time the Crusader quarterbacks have dropped back, there's been some heavy pressure from the Bellaire defensive line.
And let's see if Petrozzi's back out on D. He is, left defensive end. Masciarelli to the air. Ben Taylor, what a great move! Can he make another one? Gets into Crusader territory near midfield. What an unbelievable afternoon that Mr. Taylor has had here on homecoming 96.
Yeah, we get a chance to see here, sure-handed Benny Taylor comes up the reception, and this just was an outstanding move. He faked Chad Biggio out, and just a great move. Biggio misses the tackle, and Benny's off and running.
1st and 10 at the 49. Draw to Lekanudos. He steps inside ice, but can't get away from Golek.
I tell you, Bellaire has some nice plays in their offensive arsenal, Mike, on that one. How about the fancy ball handling by Tom Masciarelli? Of course, earlier in the season, we saw them throw that little shuffle pass behind the back, and
Yep.
I believe that was in the Addison game.
Right.
Just unbelievable. Went for a touchdown and actually threw the pass behind his back, a la basketball player. So you're allowed to see anything in terms of ball handling on the Bellaire offensive side.
2nd and 6. Here's the draw to Lekanudos. He has room. Marook doesn't let him go much further. It'll be real close to a 1st down. Brad Pavlik, 21, also with help from behind, but Lekanudos is going to be very close to another 1st down.
Well, Bellaire definitely has a pro-style offense, Mike. They open up their running lanes via the pass. Quite unusual in high school football teams. Most teams run the ball to try to open up the pass. Bellaire does it kind of in reverse. They'll throw the football, spread you out, then they like to run their little draw package and things of that nature. So they wreak havoc on defensive coordinators, Michael.
About 1:10 to go in the 3rd at the turning clock. Ty Masciarelli to the air. Call. Flags down. Call will not go down. And I think, if I call this one correctly, there's a clip on Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, we've been singing Benny's praises, but unfortunately on this play, if we get a chance to look at it, Benny is going to be assessed with a clipping foul.
I knew you jinxed him one time here today.
Well, I'm sure Benny's over talking to the official right now. I'm not sure he agrees with the call, but that really doesn't matter, Ben. It's going to be 15 yards, and it'll be marked off from the point of the foul.
Chad's call would not go down. The Candyman right on top of it.
Here we get a chance to look at it. And
Watch for number 2.
Nice reception.
Taylor right here. Boy, is that close. Wow.
I'm sure some of the Bellaire fans may not agree with that call.
Wait till they see our replay. 1st and 14 now. The ball is on the 44-yard line. Taylor split right. Here's Masciarelli. They're looking for Taylor underneath. They have him. Another flag is down. And Taylor is down at the 35. The Candyman loses some more laundry.
We're going to have to look at this one, Mike. I'd like to see what the call was on the play. It may be a case of them picking up the flag. As I suspected, Mike, this pass did not cross scrimmage. Taylor caught the ball behind the line of scrimmage. The umpire threw the flag for an ineligible lineman downfield, but in this case, they're going to have to pick the flag up, and something you were joking about with Mr. Bloom before the game, but that does occur, Mike. It's better to throw the flag and then check and see where the ball was caught at, because Donnie's only checking on the lineman going downfield, so they correctly pick up the flag, and Bellaire's in business, 2nd down and 6.
Masciarelli to the air again. He has 3 receivers down there, but he's going to run it. No flags on this play, and he'll pick up another big red 1st down.
Well, Mike, we've talked about it all day. Bellaire just puts so much pressure. They're unusual in that they put the pressure on defense, just spread the field, and they can attack you both horizontally and vertically, and it's just real tough to defend against that Bellaire offense.
And Bellaire going for the jugular, up 20-0 and driving.
Yeah, I think it would be safe to assume if they can get this one in, this game will be over for just about all practical purposes.
And this probably was going to be the last play of the third quarter. Lekanudos, Golek drags him down.
Of course, Mike, let's don't forget earlier in the season, at the end of 3 quarters, Martins Ferry, a very strong team, led Steubenville Catholic 19-0. Steubenville Catholic came back, actually had an opportunity to win that game late in the game. So let's don't give up on the Crusaders just yet. If they come up with a stop here, there is 12 minutes remaining, and they could sneak back into this one.
3 are in the books as Bellaire looks to continue their Nelson Field dominance. They lead after 3 quarters over Steubenville Catholic, 20-0. We're back with the 4th after this from Nelson on News Channel 7 Sports.
Hey there, grown-ups. I'm Beartoven Bear from the Good News Network. Did you know that the #1 health risk for America's kids isn't violence, drugs, or disease? It's injuries.
But we have some ways to help you prevent injuries.
Make sure seatbelts are worn in the car.
When bicycling, everyone needs a helmet.
Never let kids under 10 cross the street alone. Danger zone.
Hey, supervised kids, enter near water. Checking the batteries in your smoking detector every month.
Make sure water heaters are set no higher than 120 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent scald burns.
Keep guns unloaded and locked away.
Install stairway safety gates and window guards to protect against falls.
Keep household cleaners, medicine, and vitamins away from children's rooms.
Make sure all the emergency numbers are in your phone.
Check the list and keep your kids safe. And remember to watch the Good News Network every Friday, 4:30, and Saturday at 8 a.m. on News Channel 7.
Mike Anthony, Tom Bechtel back at Nelson Field, ready to start the 4th quarter here with Bellaire leading 20-0. Of course, the Big Reds have not lost a game here since 1992. Who was it?
Cambridge, interesting enough. I know that fact, Michael.
Could you have refereed that game?
I think I did.
Masciarelli lofts one towards the end zone. Touchdown! Derek Sochor, and Masciarelli is down.
Mike,
28-yard touchdown.
Mike, we actually have 2 Big Reds down on the play. Masciarelli took a real good lick, and so did Aaron Chirpas. So, unfortunately for the Big Reds, they have 2 guys down. Chirpas appears just to be a leg cramp, so doesn't appear to be a serious injury. Masciarelli is up and running off on his own power, so Big Reds come out with the big. Of course, Derek was the one that dropped that possible touchdown pass early in the game, so
hey, he atoned.
I'm sure he's glad to atone for his sin early in the game.
Can't quite make out who it is. Is that Chirpas?
Yeah, that's Aaron Chirpas. Like I said, appears just to be a cramp or something of that nature, Mike, so I'm sure he's okay, but the trainers are out working on him as we speak.
So we open the 4th with a touchdown. Bellaire scores 28 yards.
Didn't take him long to get on the board, Mike.
Well,
6 seconds.
You can put that on the board.
Of course, as we go down the road here, Mike, each week it gets tougher for the Big Reds. Next week, Indian Valley, I believe they're 5-1 on the season. They're going to be a real tough opponent. Following week, Brook, who has certainly had quite a resurgence here in midseason. And the following week, the always powerful, despite their bad record, the Ironton Tigers. And then how about the end of the season, Martins Ferry? Could that be just an unbelievable game, Mike?
How about Brook? They have Wheeling Park next week, our News Channel 7 game of the week, and then they have Bellaire. Preparing for those 2 offenses. Now it's Homer on for the point after. And it's through. Mr. Homer nails one. Just like old Pop used to do.
Yeah, I'm sure Gary's quite proud of Justin, and he's going to kick a few extra points for Bellaire before he's done.
Hey, can I give some accolades to a good buddy of mine, Brian Shale from Wheeling Park? Attempted a 50-yard field goal last night. It was just short, and then he hits a 45-yarder, which was good by about 50 or more.
Yeah, Brian just has an outstanding leg, and he's one of the finest kickers that come around in this Ohio Valley. I know Nathan White last year from Brook nailed a 54-yarder, but the way Brian kicked that one last night, that record may be in jeopardy sometime this season.
And Tom Dale, one of the assistant coaches at Wheeling Park, assured me last night Brian will get a chance to try a 50-yard before it's over because he just has too good of a leg not to try. Give the kid a chance to make some history. So
yeah, I would think that young man may have the opportunity to do a little kicking on the collegiate level because just an outstanding leg.
I'll put some pressure on your Elm Grove buddy Tom Dale there to.
Yeah, Tom is a good friend of mine. Of course, he's the baseball coach at Wheeling Park and does a nice job with the Patriot baseball squad.
And now the Big Reds tee it up. It's underway, and Marook takes it.
Marook takes Snyder's kick.
Nowhere to go, and he is brought down.
Marook brought down by number 25, Ryan Gonzalez.
Materkoski was there.
Yeah, let's give credit to Ryan Gonzalez, the junior, number 25, was also in on the tackle.
And Nathan Taylor, 35, was there, Tom, and it's weird to see somebody else wearing 35 rather than our good buddy Richie Mamie.
Yeah, Richie wore that number for a number of years and wore it well.
Well, Steubenville Catholic will try to peck away at it. They're down 27-0. Chad Biggio going for it all, and it's picked by Sochor. He has running room, needs one block. Derek Sochor is tiptoeing. Touchdown!
Well, Mike, we're only 25 seconds into the fourth quarter. Derek Sochor has already picked up 2 big touchdowns. And we've talked about his speed all season long, and Chad just hung this. Chad Biggio hangs his pass out just a little bit. Derek Sochor with his outstanding speed gets to the football, picks up 1 key block, and it's in the end zone for Mr. Sochor.
I like the dance on the sideline, tiptoeing, staying.
Yeah, he did a great job of tight roping the sideline, and Derek picks up his 2nd touchdown of the quarter with just a few ticks off the clock.
Homer. Boomer. It's all good. 34-0. Bellaire is starting to turn this one into a rout. And I don't think it's going to be tough getting out of here parking lot wise because some of the crowd on this side is starting to file to the right.
Well, Mike, each week the Bellaire Big Reds are making more and more believers throughout the Ohio Valley. Who thought after last year in the outstanding 13-1 season, losing that heartbreaking double overtime loss to Versailles in the state Division IV championship, who thought that they'd come back this year with all their major losses? All the guys, we could go on and on about who played for the Big Reds last year, but with all their losses, who would have thought at this stage of the season they'd be 6-0 and running up the big scores that they are? Like I said,
and haven't missed a beat, it looks like.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I'll tell you, Masciarelli stepped in. Certainly, I don't think anyone wants to compare him with Jose Davis just yet, but we got to remember, he's only a junior.
And this team could be outstanding again next year, but let's play out this season. Mr. Marook will try it again. He's a game breaker. Let's see if he can do something. Runs into his own guy and is finally thrown down. He ran right up the back of Brent Ferroni, and he'll be stopped, and now Coach Farrar will pull out all stops.
Of course, in the last 4 years, the Big Reds have only lost 5 regular season games. Last year, of course, we know 13-1. In 94, they were 9-1 with the heartbreaking loss at the end of the season to Martins Ferry. 93, they were only 8-2, but of course they advanced to the playoffs for the first time in their school history that year, Mike. In the previous season before that, 9-1 with just a loss to Cambridge. So just outstanding records down at Bellaire, and it appears they're on their way to another outstanding record this season.
Brandon Ice covers it up and gets a first down. About 11 or 12 yards on that carry. I mentioned get your tickets now for Bridgeport Lindsley. Get your tickets now for Bellaire Martins Ferry, because that game will be definitely sold out. Unbelievable crowds and all kinds of hype for that one if the season continues on like it is now.
Well, quite frankly, Mike, I may be getting my ticket for Lindsley-Wellsville here in about a half hour, because that's a great game going over there in Wheeling. Started actually at 2 o'clock, but there's just a whole lot of great games and a whole lot of good football to be played in the Ohio Valley the remainder of this season.
The handoff is to Joe Lekanudos. Grant Allen makes the stop.
Tell you, Coach Magistro's gone to his bench, and some of the younger performers I see, number 63, Ken McCormick in there, Ryan Snyder's in there, Ryan Brooks, 36, is checked in. So a lot of the youngsters for the Big Reds are now getting a chance to play a little bit on the defensive side of the football.
I was looking for number 2, Ben Taylor, on this play, but I think Mr. Taylor was called in an afternoon. He's on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think Benny's going to get some well-deserved rest, and looks like Richie Materkoski stepped in to take over that safety position.
So, Steubenville Catholic will try.
Some other faces I see in the Bellaire defense. Clint Ostrander, 6 foot, 165-pound juniors playing on the defensive line. So a lot of the youngsters for Bellaire getting a chance now to get some varsity game experience.
Chad Biggio rolling left. He's hit. Jimmy Preston made the stop.
Of course, Jimmy saw some action after Brooks's early season injury. Jimmy actually did a little running at fullback, so he does have experience, and he's stepping up here on the defensive side of the football for the Big Reds here in the fourth quarter.
It'll be second and a long, about 20 for Biggio and the Catholic Central Crusaders, who have been stung by another unbeaten this afternoon.
Well, they've just gone through a murderer's row here, Mike, and fortunately for the Crusaders, the remainder of the season, there are some teams on that schedule that they can beat. So it's a little tough when you're taking a pasting like this of 35-0 or 34-0, excuse me. But Coach Farrar's just going to have to get the troops back to practice next week, get back to business, and Youngstown East, Beaver, Akron Home, and Toronto all wait on the wings. And certainly there's some games there they can win, and they just need to regroup. And still possible they could get a winning season. You know, they got 4 consecutive losses here, it appears, today, unless they have a miraculous comeback. But they just need to regroup and see what they can make of this 96 season.
Chad Biggio, the junior signal caller. Play action, he is in trouble and finally dropped. Look at the red shirts.
Yeah, I think Jimmy McFeely finally finished him off, number 53, but Nathan Taylor, 35, was the first one to meet him, and just a great job. You know, down Bellaire way, they all play some defense.
And my main man, Angelo Canella, is on again to punt.
Jimmy McFeely also in on the spot for the Big Reds.
There's some more youngsters check in the kick team here. Dusty LaRoche, Corey Blazik, and a few other young men stepped in for the Bellaire Big Reds.
Canella ends it to Marling at midfield. Couple of blocks. Marling refuses to go down. You mentioned a youngster named Blazik into the lineup, and that name, of course, is synonymous with Bellaire High School basketball on the girls' side of it years ago.
Yeah, Debbie Blazik, she was inducted into the Hall of Fame here just a couple weeks ago, Mike, and I believe she's the brother of Corey, and just an outstanding basketball player. Of course, she had a nice career down at West Virginia, and as I mentioned earlier, early in the season, they had Hall of Fame Day, and she was the first female inducted into the Bellaire Hall of Fame. Just an outstanding athlete.
And we can't forget Tiber.
Oh, no way.
Cannot forget the Tibes.
Of course, she's the assistant basketball coach as well as a worker at News Channel 7.
And here is Timmy Marling getting stacked up, and Lednick is back into the ball game for Bellaire at quarterback.
On that offensive line, there's some youngsters have checked in. J.J. Smidley, big junior tackle, 6'4", 220 pounds. Looks like he's getting his first action. David DeLong, junior wide receiver, has just checked in. So Coach Magistro and his staff have gone to the bench and given all these youngsters a chance to work toward their big red letter.
Lednick on 2nd and 11. Marling is brought down in the backfield, and the ball is loose.
We have a fumble, Mike.
We have a fumble. We have excitement.
Yes, we do.
Steubenville Catholic recovers.
We need something to get you fired up here, Michael. Yeah, it appeared Tom Daly, number 55, came up with the recovery, and Crusaders are going to get a chance to move the football.
Did you say Tom Dale again?
I think it was Tom Dale, Tom Daly, somebody like that.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Steubenville Catholic now with 7:50 to go in the 4th quarter. Can they crack the scoreboard?
Well, I think that's the big issue now. And tell you, the Big Reds have come up pretty strong on that defensive end. Of course, they've thrown a shutout earlier in the season against St. Clairsville. They just emulsified the Red Devils. But
Biggio hands to Ice. And Ice shows some speed and gets outside. We're used to seeing the big man bull you over straight ahead, but he bounced outside there and got some yardage, and it'll be another 1st down.
And we see some substitutes check in the lineup for Steubenville Catholic. Coach Farrar's giving some of his youngsters a chance to get in the lineup. Greg Anderson just checked in, along with Troy Dennis.
77 Golek comes out of there, but he's played a great game on both sides of the football. You wouldn't know it with the score, but Golek has been there in the trenches on both sides of the football. Option left, Biggio's going to keep it.
That was Kenny McCormick on the tackle. Junior defensive tackle for the Big Reds.
McCormick gets the stop, and Steubenville Catholic will be left with a 2nd and 7. Pavlik, 21, is back into the ball game. A split right, one-on-one with Materkoski. The Iceman nailed at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that was sophomore tackle Lee Fetters, number 76, assisted on that tackle.
Tom, we can't go without saying the Bellaire homecoming queen. Tessa Zanke, the 96 homecoming queen here at Bellaire, and that name rings a bell. Don't you know her?
I know a little bit about Tessa. She is a twin. She's a senior at Bellaire, and she dates a very good friend of mine, Jerry Amirani, former Cager for the Big Reds. Of course, he's my godson, so I had to get a cheap plug in for him. But Tessa's a very nice young lady, and
so what's she doing with Jerry?
What's that? I've often wondered that, but no, she's a very nice young lady, an outstanding student, and cute young lady, homecoming queen, 1996, Bellaire Big Reds.
Yeah, Nick Tuttle had trouble with the football, but it appears that Steubenville Catholic got it back. There's Biggio, hit Tuttle right between the hands, and they get it back. It's Nick Tuttle. And